What's going on YouTube? James Prigioni coming to you live from Jersey. It's October 20th now. We just had a couple cold nights, a couple hard frosts, so a lot of this stuff died. All the tomatoes and everything died back. So I'm going through now and covering all the dead tomatoes with the mulch. Just covering the tomatoes. It's going to be a nice amount of organic matter to break down over the winter. Covering the ground with the wood chips like this in the fall. This is basically my fertilizing for the year. Paul Gaucher talks about how most farmers fertilize in the spring when we should all be fertilizing in the fall like how nature does it. Paul also says something about how if it doesn't line up with nature, then it's not true. I think that's a profound statement. Figured I'd just share it with you guys. Really something to think about. Chickens are going through and just cleaning up the rest of the tomatoes. After the frost, they're just getting everything else out of there. With all these cherry tomatoes planted, there's going to be a lot of ones that are going to be coming up voluntarily next year. But I don't want all the cherry tomatoes. I'm going to go more for some beefsteak tomatoes. But I can identify what tomatoes are cherry tomatoes and what are beefsteaks just from a seedling. The cherry tomatoes that are really reseeding themselves in here all have like a really purple hue to them, and they have a lot fatter leaves. This grapevine here really took off this year. You can see how high it's growing up that tree. All the way up top there. Pomegranate's still alive. It's doing pretty well too. We've had the nice mulch underneath it, so that's really helped. We're going to come through and mulch it again now, and then I'm going to have to cover it with the greenhouse, the little plastic greenhouse we have, and then just cover it with leaves and stuff when it goes dormant, because it's had some great growth this year. The Bing Cherry was the star of the garden this year. She's looking great. Look at the size of the stalk on it. Huge. Next year it should bear some fruit. Comfrey underneath it's doing great too. I planted comfrey under another tree over there, but the comfrey died back a little bit. This asparagus patch right here really got thick. I think we're going to be eating a lot of asparagus next spring. I have it planted underneath a tree right here, peach tree. It's done pretty well. I figure the long roots of the asparagus might pull up some nutrients for the tree in the same way comfrey does. Dynamic accumulator. Only a couple calendulas are still alive that have survived the frosts, so it's nice to see a few. It's right in front of the raspberry patch that really did well this year, and it's starting to send off runners already. New raspberries coming up right there. This tree right here, this apple tree, really hasn't done much in the last couple of years it was in here. It's kind of just sat there, so I might dig it up this year when it goes dormant, kind of bare root it and trim it back and then plant it somewhere else. Maybe I didn't separate the root ball enough when I planted it. This was the first tree we ever planted. The chickens came through and they scratched up all these strawberries. They almost looked like they were dead, but they all came back and they're looking beautiful right now. Just like we were planting. Strawberries and raspberries, blueberries, grapes and stuff all on the ground, growing with the fruit trees. Got the herbs growing with it. Oregano. I'll have some more annuals planted, sage, cosmos. So a lot of this area is already planted, all the strawberries here. I don't have to come through and plant this with anything because this is already all just planted with strawberries, which is beautiful. You can see the chickens coming through and just scratching up underneath the trees, getting all the bugs. Oh. Dog messes with them sometimes, but they live happily together. So as you guys can tell, I switched up the format of the video a little bit. Just changing things up a little. Let me know what you guys thought in the comments. Someone also requested that I get in front of the camera and do a little more hands-on kind of stuff in the future. So let me know what you guys think about that. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Food forest is looking great. At this time of the year, it looks beautiful. Because I can just see what it's going to look like in the spring, how full it's going to be. I'm running out of places to plant annuals in here, so I'm expanding onto the other garden on the side. That's looking great as well, so I see great things going on in the future here. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Thanks for following along. Thanks for
Why are you doing that?